Hi and welcome back to It's Very Zen. Today I'd like to talk about diversity in relation to tarot cards. There's a lot of talk that I've seen about people wanting more diversity in tarot cards, particularly with relation to either culture or gender or sexuality. And it's a natural progression with the way the world is going, with the increasing acceptance of diversity and acceptance and inclusion, which is wonderful. And it has created a big market for more diverse decks. I think people today are absolutely spoilt for choice with the different kind of artwork that is available. Personally, I had never really considered this for myself as a reader, and this is not because of any culture issues of mine, any gender, how I identify in either aspect, but it's got everything to do with how I read the cards personally for myself. Now, I don't always look at cards and necessarily think, yes, the king, okay, this is a man in your life. Now, of course it can be, but that's not how I look at it completely. To me, when I'm reading, it's not about the gender. It's about the qualities that can be associated with it that gives me my clues to a reading. Now, in front of me, I've got your traditional Rider-Waite, and I've got the Emperor, the Empress, and a king and a queen, just blindly pulled. So there's no particular reason why the king is pentacles and the queen is cups. Now, yes, if you look at the Rider-Waite, and I'm using this as an example because it's the most widely known common tarot deck out there. They're all white, and they're all obviously cisgender. However, let's break this down and look at the qualities and attributes of this card. And we'll start here with the Emperor and Empress. Two sides of a coin. Now, I would like to encourage you out there, if you are struggling with relating to tarot because it doesn't speak to you, if you're looking at the Rider-Waite and you think, I cannot relate to this deck because I do not relate to the fact that all white cisgendered people, I would like to encourage you to just step back and look at it a bit differently like I do. And by doing this, I'm really hoping to encourage particularly new beginners to tarot who might be looking at the Rider-Waite and thinking, oh my God, nope, just can't relate. I'd like to encourage you to just think more about it, think more outside the box, think beyond gender and culture. Because I find it really sad, okay, and this is what's prompted this video, what I've been thinking about. I would really hate for people to be deterred or blocked in their studies because they're looking at this and thinking, no, can't relate. And the fact is that even though there's so many hundreds of decks out there, this is the one that people start with if you're doing classes if you're learning in a classroom type situation, this is the one that you'll more than likely learn with. And I have found that no matter how many decks I offer people to read with, they're like, okay, right, but this is what they're expecting to see. And yep, like it or lump it, that's how it is. And I do firmly believe that if you can read with the Rider-Waite, then you can read with anything. So let's sit back, open our minds, and have a think about the qualities of these cards. Emperor and Empress here. So here we have a man and a woman. Obviously a man and a woman. But if this comes up in a reading, I'm not going to say, oh, well, there's this woman and, okay, is there any chance if you're a woman that you're pregnant? That's only one aspect of it, okay? If the Emperor comes up, I'm not going to say, so your boss, he is a real hard ass? No. It's about the energy. If you think about the energies and the qualities of masculinity, I think the Emperor is someone who embodies the traits of a ruler. This person has that masculine energy, who has the inner qualities to be able to lead, to rule, to make sure the job gets done. And masculine qualities is gender neutral in my opinion. I can actually relate to this because I'm a control freak and I like to be in control of things. So if I'm looking at this card, that's the qualities that I'm looking at. Now the Empress. The feminine energy and the fact that she is fertile in a, cisgendered sense. But the fertility is not always necessarily procreation of a human. It is fertility in the sense of your ideas and your creations and your wishes finding fertile ground growing. It's also quite a feminine energy. So it's more about nurturing those energies, not necessarily nurturing children, okay? So there's a way of looking past the obvious man and woman to look at masculine and feminine. Now let's look at the King and Queen. Now with the King and Queen, it's definitely more of the masculine and feminine energies that I look at when I'm reading. And if you look at the tarot with the progression from the Page to the Knight to the Queen to the King, it's a progression from finding an idea and running with it to get things started, nurturing it, and then seeing it through to the finality and mastering whatever it is that has been growing here. So if we look at the King, this is a person who is in control. And, King of Pentacles is a bit of a control freak. This is someone who has really gained control and mastery of a situation, which is why, I look at this person as someone who is an employer. Someone who embodies that energy of being in control and has mastered something. The Queen has taken the idea from the Knight and she's nurtured it. And we're not nurturing children here. We're nurturing in the case of the cups, we're nurturing our emotions. It's looking inside ourselves. And yeah, it's a feminine energy. Nurturing and caring for ourselves is a feminine energy. So I'm really hoping that that has made some sense here into looking beyond genders and just looking at the energy and the qualities of the cards, because feminine and masculine energy and qualities is gender neutral. You can have very masculine women who just love that control, they want to be the ruler, go them. And you can have very feminine men who they want to be nurtured. They don't necessarily want to have that masculine energy and be the ruler. And that's also fine. So that is the Rider-Waite. Now, should the artwork not gel with you and you're struggling to find a deck that is, gender neutral, gender inclusive, whatever, and there's plenty out there, okay? After you've got your head around the Rider-Waite, or even in conjunction with it, have a look at a deck that perhaps doesn't have people. If the fact that there's people is throwing you off, there are decks out there that don't. And this is the Animal Tarot by Doreen Virtue and Radleigh Valentine. Now this hardly even has, I don't think, masculine and feminine energy. They're animals and they're not obviously male or female. They're not of any specific culture. They're just animals. Now, granted, with Doreen and Radleigh, they do tend to rename the suits to elements or the seasons. That's also fine. That just adds to the whole thing. This is something I would like you to perhaps consider here as something that's totally neutral, that's not going to throw you off or block you. So that's one suggestion that I have in my collection. Another one is not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but it's the Deviant Moon Tarot by Patrick Valenza, and I love it. I love it. This is just a total freak show. Now, they're still kind of male and female, but they're not human by any stretch of the imagination. They're moon people. And I actually think this deck, to me, really does focus more on the energy and qualities of gender rather than this is a man, this is a woman. And yeah, okay, some of them are white, but the moon is white. And yeah, this deck is just so out there that, yeah, you don't even notice gender or anything going on here. It is really wonderful, and probably for a bit more experienced if you're a beginner, after you've got your head around the Rider-Waite, because the imagery is, yeah, it takes some study here. So that's another deck that I'd like to suggest if you're struggling with the Rider-Waite, is to find something, not necessarily Rider-Waite clone that is, diverse with gender and culture, but just doesn't deal with it at all, is just put that aside. All right, I hope this has been of some help to people who are new to tarot. and even those who aren't, but who are struggling with the lack of diversity, and either struggling with reading the Rider-Waite, or perhaps you just can't afford to buy decks, trying to find one that clicks with you. Okay, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What are your tips and tricks about getting past lack of diversity, or dealing with diversity in tarot? Love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, stay safe and happy reading.